Hey guys, good morning. This is Clint O'Rear with Creative Retail Talks, and we're talking with Alexa Westerfield this morning. Alexa, thanks for joining us. Hi, this is Clint O'Rear. Thanks for joining the Creative Retail Talks podcast today, where we will be discussing the latest in life, business, and retail. All right, I'm gonna throw a question at you that I'm gonna ask every guest, and as I get to know people and talk to them, I always love to hear this part of their journey, their life journey. So tell me about one or two people that have had very strong influences in your life and how they've impacted your life.
Oh, wow. Well, I would say I'm going to go with one of the people that really has impacted my life in a big way is Kathy Cano-Murillo, the Crafty Chica.
Yeah.
She has been a great mentor in the industry for me, and she's been a connector of dots for me for opportunity, from a big picture of just caring and sharing and really seeing what I bring to the table. And I think she does that for a lot of people in our industry. I think she's really always been a guiding light of positivity, and because she does a lot of things with like bigger brands outside of our industry, you know, doing Facebook and Instagram and all these things, and she's always bringing crafts into the mix. So I appreciate in my personal life the advocacy, but I see the advocacy that she does for so many, for our industry as a whole. And I think that she really is one of those people that really is a positive light.
That's great. Yeah, she's awesome. And I do love what she does for the industry and just for the whole creative process. So that's awesome.
And I would say my other one would be just, I think my mom and my grandma's like being nurtured in this crafting as a kid and going to the store and letting me pick out and explore. Like my jam was hair bows. That was when hair bows and puffy paint sweatshirts. But you know, they would buy me the stuff, or, oh, you can use your allowance for that, whatever. But I was always exposed to that as a kid, and I'm very grateful for that, because I think I always try to instill it in other kids myself, because I think it's really important for them to learn that skill and to encourage crafting like as a very positive outlet. And yeah, that's I really got that from my parents and my grandparents. So that's been super positive.
That's great. And you know, you mentioned kind of some of the pandemic effect a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that has been very positive for our industry during the pandemic quarantine and since is a lot of people have been home together, and a lot of people have had stress and anxiety. And that's one of the things that I love about the industry is how our products help people alleviate stress and alleviate anxiety. And so we have seen sales skyrocket everywhere where a store has been open. You know, Walmart never shut down, obviously, and then some of the craft chains had to shut down and then open back up in May. And you know, across the board, if you read the financials, you'll see from the retail side, we're seeing it from the supplier side. Sales are skyrocketing and continue to do so every week right now. And I think it's because people have reconnected with crafts and creativity as an important component of their lives. And I just love that. I love that our industry is helping people deal with what has been a crazy, crazy situation for us, like anything we've ever dealt with. But also the positive part has been we've all been home together more. Well, maybe in some ways positive, in some ways maybe challenging, but because it's a long time to all be home together, right? But
we need those outlets. So it's like, I know a lot of parents are, you know, and I think a lot of times, like, we're starting to turn to social media, and there's, you know, you go on your Facebook feed and there's a lot of doom and gloom, and you can only be in that for so long. Like, you got to turn it off, and you got to get out those knitting needles and Netflix, get your Netflix on, and, you know, like,
right.
Like, we got to, I think the mental health aspect too of crafting is like the healing properties of it. I think I was just talking to somebody else yesterday, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm getting back into knitting. Like I really need it during this time. And I was like, oh, cool. So I think that it's such an outlet for so many people to express themselves, but also just a little bit of a deeper inward connection and a connection with other people. So yeah, I see it too. Like I go in the craft stores and I just see like the walls obliterated.
Yes.
I'm like, people are crafting right now for sure. This whole ink cap is gone.
Definitely. Yeah. It has created some supply challenges, that's for sure. But
oh yeah, for sure.
Hopefully that's a good thing. So
yeah.
Well, Alexa, as we wrap up here, tell me kind of what you're doing in the industry now, and if someone wanted to connect with you and partner with you, kind of how you can help them, and the best way to get a hold of you.
Well, I'm currently working with brands on strategy, social media implementation, also like a kind of content creation. I have a studio. It's still a little bit of work in progress, but I'm developing a craft studio where I actually make content in my craft studio. So I'm a content creator on the side, in addition to I have my own content. I just do a lot of different things, content creation wise. But so I've been partnering with brands in doing that. I've also been managing some different brand social medias and that kind of thing within the industry, and working for I work for a blogger and I make content. So I do a lot of different things. I like to stay very connected at all levels. Let's just say that. But I will say this, Clint, I think that the niche that I'm starting to go into is really more in the strategy, the big picture strategy. So I'm here for any brands that need like high level of like, hey, we need an audit. We need an audit of what we're doing, and what do you think we could be doing better? Like, I am down for that. That's an expertise I have. And also Pinterest strategy. That is an area that I'm really skilled at, helping design pins and getting them out there and start circulating. And I called it Pinterest is your, I think it's an underdog that a lot of people, it's not really an underdog. People aren't necessarily utilizing it as much as they could be, because Pinterest has the biggest simmering rate. Like, I always call it simmering, like marinating.
Yeah.
Like, you see these pins from 8 years ago, they're still there. Still there. And it's like, what about Instagram? The shelf life is so much longer. So trying to develop content that really is going to like be that foundational great piece of content that's going to drive sales and interest and traffic to you for years to come. So that's definitely an area that I'm steering into, because that's something that, I'm really good at. So
that's great. Well, and so cool that you're doing the strategic piece as well, the audits, because I think that's something that can help a lot of people fine tune, wherever they are with their social media strategy. That can help them fine tune and determine next steps. And determine what to do for the next right thing, right?
Yeah, and I will say, like, I feel like that answer I gave was just a little all over the place, but it's because I have done all the things. Like, I'm kind of a creative unicorn, like a crafty unicorn. Like, I can do the marketing, I can do the posting, So I'm in this place of kind of finding my area. But I feel like the biggest area that I have, like the most, really is just connecting. I love connecting with people. So working with brands and really providing those audits and explaining the strategy of where they need to be going. And it's an actionable strategy based on your needs, because so many brands, like we just talked, this can be really overwhelming.
Right.
So let's build you out a strategy that you can implement over the next of the course month. And in a year's time, you're going to look back and be like, wow, we really made some great steps and moves in that time, as opposed to let's build out this complicated strategy that you have to post on all 6 platforms. And
yeah, definitely.
So it's what's workable for your needs, because I know every brand has different needs and time commitments.
Yeah. So I just thought of a term you should be using on your business card. You're basically the content queen, right?
Yeah.
Content queen.
Yeah, I do a lot of content development. And so one aspect I didn't tell you, but when I worked at both DecoArt and Duncan, I actually always had my own side interests, and so I would make crafts go viral on the side on my own blog. And then I got Vine famous for a while, where I had over 220,000 followers on Vine. Wow. So I was always, and BuzzFeed, I was always doing crafty posts on BuzzFeed. So I've always been, and I do those things to kind of stay on top of my game, but I also get kind of competitive with it. So I try to really not only be the one that knows how to do it, but I actually do it. So
you're living it. It's not just theory, you're living it. That's great. Well,
I live it.
Thank you so much for taking time to visit with me this morning. And I mentioned this earlier before we started recording, but you're our first guest on Creative Retail Talk. So yay! So
you need that clapping. I should have this little device that you can push a button and it does clappy.
Right? Exactly. So it has, on a personal note, it's been so great to connect with you the last several months, and I love the conversations that we're having, and I look forward to continued partnerships with you down the road.
Yeah, me too, Clint. So thank you so much for having me on here.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed our conversation on the Creative Retail Talks podcast today. Be sure to visit our show notes page for more information on today's show. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, reach out to me at clint@creativeretailtalks.com. Creative Retail Talks is all one word. That email address will also be in the show notes. Hope you have a great day.